Okay, so I'm just going to get started now. As of now, there's only 3 people watching, but hopefully more will join. It's 8:30, so it's like 5:30 West Coast time, so it should be pretty free time for most people, but we'll see. So feel free to just ask me questions in the comments. I'll be keeping these on the side. Let me just figure this out. There we go. Okay. So I've got a nice list of things that I was going to work on. Probably not everything, but just to list off some stuff. The main work I'm going to do is on the X slider here. Quite a few things on it just to sort of improve it in general. I'm going to probably be working on triggers for the end stops. Actually, probably not, because as you can see, the model's a little messed up at the moment. And the triggers really require everything to be put together. So maybe like that. I'll be doing the base panel here. I'll be adjusting this. That's a bit stronger so that it can support the power supply and the printer control and all that stuff. Let's see. Oh, cable strain relief. I recently made this little part, which is cable strain on the X slider here. It goes over this whole, just holds the whole mess of cables there, but I have to make one for the other side over here where it's going to be coming over to. So I'm going to have to do something with that. And combine belt clamp. Oh, yeah, and then I'm going to be working on making new belt clamps and then a combined belt clamp so that it makes equal tension. Also keep in mind, guys, that the video is delayed by probably 20 seconds, so the comments that I'm reading now are in reference to the video 20 seconds ago, so there's going to be a bit of delay, just in case you aren't familiar with how the whole live stream thing works. So yeah, for the model that gets messed up, the way I built the model initially was basically I just threw every single part into one assembly, and then I mated them all together, which in hindsight was a pretty bad idea. Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I basically just threw all of the parts into one assembly and made them all together, which as you change around parts, it makes big issues. So what I'm beginning to work on doing is making sub-assemblies for each section like I did with the 3-up. I don't know why I didn't do it with this, but I'll be doing that to make it neater and then fix all the mates. I have not looked at the zebra plate printing platform. I'm using BuildTak right now, which is working well. I have to get some isopropyl alcohol though, because I feel like I just have to kind of wipe it down first so that it starts sticking again, because it's not doing too well at the moment. But if the isopropyl alcohol doesn't help, I will be looking into alternatives. So let me get started. I suppose I'll just work on the base plate since that one's pretty simple and straightforward. So basically how it is right now, as you can tell by looking at it, it's not super strong. It's got some pretty thin parts here, and the way that it mounts it, I mean, it's got these big gaps here, which just aren't really that good. So what I was thinking of doing was extending this back side of it out a little so that it overlaps over this one and goes down the full length of it, and then have another probably 2 bolt holes in that. This model's a little outdated because the printer now is going to have 3 slots on the bottom here, so this bottom face will be a slot, so you can mount to it. So yeah, I will do that now. So that's actually really straightforward. I can basically just edit this sketch. I want to add in something like this. And then really the only constraint is keeping it, how far from the edge? Oh yes, I do, because that's the corner. So actually I can just go pretty much straight from the corner, but I think I'm going to give it a little bit of buffer space. Let me just get these instructions so that I can make a slant and give it a 45 and out 20. And then so now I want to get rid of this one, bring this one back, get rid of that one, get rid of that one. Oops, wrong button. And this will go here. And that should be it, I believe. Yeah, that should be good. Also, I want to move this. What program I'm using Autodesk Inventor 2015. Yes, Autodesk Inventor Pro 2015, which I have a free student edition of right now. But when that expires, I will almost definitely be purchasing it. I believe it's only like $100 or something like that for the full version. But I believe that's the basic, not the Pro version, although I don't really use any Pro features. And it's not SolidWorks, but it is very similar to SolidWorks. So it's definitely a similar program. I believe they're made by the same parent company too, which would explain a lot. Put that out by just 5 millimeters. I will give it a little bit more of a gap. This, I don't know if I want to get out of this. Yep, problems, whatever. So that's fine. What's wrong with this? Oh, I see. In reference to an old part of the sketch. So let's get rid of that. Do it in reference to this corner. I have used, well, tried to use Autodesk 123D. I believe that's the one where you just kind of throw shapes in and it meshes them together. I could not handle that. Definitely needed something more powerful for my purposes. But if you're just making simple objects, then that's definitely not a bad program to use. So I totally forgot to make bolt holes, and also this is, there we go. Is that missing more? That's good. So let's get the 4 holes, 3 holes, cut out, good. All right, so I gotta add bolt holes for mounting along here, which is simple enough. Just go from the midpoint. Construction. Throw on 2 circles. These are going to be the same size as the other ones. and I will just put them. 75 from the ends. Very scientific, I know. But with stuff like this, it's not super important to have like an exact idea. The one thing that sucks about this compared to SolidWorks is that it doesn't really recognize when you make a shape inside an old shape in an old drawing. So something like this, you have to actually manually deselect the new shapes inside the old figure for them to be cut out or extruded or whatever. Not a big deal, just a little bit of a pain. All right, so this one now has 3, 4, 5, 6 mount points to the bottom. Hopefully that will be enough to support the weight of the power supply. However, I'm a little bit paranoid because the power supply is heavy, so I am going to give this just a little more room. 10 more millimeters on that back side to just thicken it up below. All right, and this looks pretty good. So I'll probably have this sent off to be cut. Just for reference, this part is going to be something that's going to be included with all printers. It's just going to be a base plate to mount the power supply, the printer, and the printer controller too. So let's save that, close it out, and see how it looks. So I believe that, yeah, that clears it. Okay. So I should be good. Ooh, maybe it doesn't. Well, worst case, I can just drop this down a little more because this was just dropped an arbitrary value and it still has room to go. So I can always drop that lower. This printer will be well, I plan on selling it in multiple, I guess, kits. One will be a hardware only, which will include the frame, all of the mechanics, the bed, the custom machine parts, the printed parts, all that stuff, but no electronics, no power supply, no controller, no motors, no hot end, nothing like that. And that will be somewhere around $550. And then there will be a full model, which will be a full printer with the hot end, E3, V6 hot end, all the electronics, all that stuff, and that's going to be around $750 to $800, I believe. And then I may be doing a pro version, which will be like a full enclosure, full acrylic enclosure, stuff like that, which will be a bit more, but I don't know exactly. I'm definitely going to have the bare bones and the basic full kit. All right, so a few problems with this piece as of now. This mount here is wrong, which I have this model that I made a while ago, which I guess I made the model wrong or something like that, because in theory this should all line up, but when I hold the fan up, and you guys can't see, but yeah, it's definitely bigger than it is here. So I don't know if I really want to deal with that right now because I have to remeasure the fan then. Let's leave that for now. One of the important things that I wanted to do was the belt clamps. So let me open up out here now. I don't have them in here. So they are two parts. Also, all this crap, there's so many files in here that are out of date, not even used anymore, or the names are just completely random, like you'll see. There's ABD for the extruder, ABA, A2, BC, C2D. Totally random stuff. This is all going to be fixed once the final version of the printer is done. There we go. And some of these don't even have like letters, so like belt clamp. So this was the old version. This actually worked pretty well for just clamping down the belt, but I don't like it because it has to be bolted on in order to keep the belt from sliding and basically saving the position, the notch of the belt you're on. I want to make a piece that holds that, and basically bolting on doesn't do anything as far as holding the belt. It simply attaches the belt to the system. Marketing question: makes your printer worth $750? Well, I would argue that it's worth much more than that. $750 is basically the minimum I can sell it for. The cost of all the parts on my end in bulk is, I believe it's around $500, and then when you add shipping and fees on top of that, and then of course there's got to be some margin just in case things go wrong with parts, or I need to send replacements, and then sorry, thirsty. So yeah, I have to have some margin for obvious reasons, not just for profit, but for ensuring that I will have enough funds and not lose money on the whole thing. So $750 was really the lowest I can go. $750, $800, I should say. And with that, that's only like a $150 margin. So it's really not that much at all when you consider the price of the printer. But the quality, speed, and the noise level, I would argue, is well worth over $1,000. But I'm not going to sell it for what I think it's worth. I'm going to sell it for what the lowest I can. So I want to completely redo this part. So I got to brainstorm a little, but what I was thinking of is keeping the same aspect, but essentially having a slit, making this thing fatter, and then having a slit in the top where you can sort of slide the belt in. So essentially, let me just show you what I was thinking. Was basically chopping it like this. Chopping it like this, and then extruding. Actually, this might work pretty well. I mean, I'm going to have to redo it, obviously, because this is super messy. But why? There we go. Essentially, this was what I was looking at doing, is having something like this where you have the same basic idea with this little post. So the belt's going to come in, loop around, and then go back. But you have to slide it down into this so that even when this isn't attached to the printer, the belt won't be coming loose from this part, so to hold it in. So actually, let me just see. That actually looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take basically this same piece and just remake it how I sort of hacked it together. So how I'm going to do that, start from scratch. Thank you. I just want to sketch. So I want to do something like this, and then have it come out and up. So I have like a sort of U-shaped channel that that the belt will be sitting in. Trim that, and that's good. So let's find out what the dimensions are of this guy. I guess it doesn't matter too much. This height matters, so let me at least get a little bit to go off of. So that's a little more than 5, so I'll go 5.25 for simplicity. Printer be Bowden or direct? At the moment, I'm not too sure. It's definitely going to be direct, or at least have a direct drive option, but I may also look at doing a Bowden option. I already found a Bowden extruder that I really like, and it's really easy to swap over the printer to basically be a Bowden printer. It's just a matter of if there's really any benefit to going, well, I know there are benefits and disadvantages, but in this specific scenario, I have to kind of see how it plays out and if it's really worth it. If one is much better than the other, or vice versa, whatever it may be. I'm going to be doing a little bit of experimenting with that just to see how I like each drive system, and then I'll decide if I want to offer both or just direct. If anything, it will be both. I'm not going to be offering a direct or a, sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm not going to offer it as like only a Bowden extruder, because I know that they have disadvantages with quite a few types of filament, and I really don't want to restrict the types of filament that people can use. All right, so actually, let me. I want to go different heights here. Have this one be the height of the plastic. Yeah, exactly. Bowden filament does not play well, or sorry, Bowden extruders don't really play well with most of those exotic filaments. Even ones like carbon fiber, just because the carbon fiber is so rigid, it might even break in the Bowden tube. I don't really know how that would work. So, yeah, just to keep it as more of a, that's how long this was. I really don't want to like limit my audience because I know a lot of people do like those exotic filaments. So if anything, I would be offering both. And I have done Bowden for a little bit. It's definitely cool. But in my old testing, this was a while back on an older prototype, I really just didn't see any advantages to it. However, now that the printer is so much more like rigid and sturdy, well designed, that I think it might actually be more of a benefit now. But I'm going to be waiting to see on that. Yeah, and also Bowden can be bad. So, excuse me. So in my short experience with Bowden extruders, I hope to have more soon. But it seems like Bowden only really works well if your printer is very well designed so that it sort of compensates for the Bowden. Because not only do you have to worry about oozing, but also with the lower amount of weight on the gantry, it really can amplify certain problems. Like if you have some kind of shifting, like when it's going one direction versus the other, it really shows up more with Bowden. I think I want to make those thinner. Let's go with 3.5 for now. So one thing I'm a little worried about with how I'm doing this is that this post really isn't supported, and there's no way to make it supported and still have make it easy so you can just kind of slide it in the top. What I was also thinking was making this flange taller, and I guess sort of just having it where, can I do that? Where does the hole? That would hit it. Nope, I'm going to stick with this and test it out and see how it works. So this is coming 2.5 up. Oh, it's just centered and, well, 2.5 up by reference. But I really want to keep these the same as they were because I don't want to change around the whole position. So 3.5, 2.5 from the center. Oops. People watching, woo! I feel like I should probably announce well beforehand when I'm going to do a live stream so that more people kind of plan to be here to watch it. I usually just kind of do it last minute though. I don't really plan to have a live stream. I'm just kind of like, hey, I'm not doing anything. I might as well live stream. Probably would make more sense to kind of plan it out, but maybe I will from now on. The whole new channel thing with editing the videos and all that. I don't know. See where it goes. I don't like how when you undo something, it actually goes to the last tab. You did something, it doesn't like stick to undoing what you did in this tab. It can be a bit of a pain. Okay, this is back. How tall did I make this? 16.5. Way to make nice even numbers. Thanks. Yeah, that's helpful. No, I want 16.5 here. Of course not. I want to. I have 5.2. I think I did do that for a reason, but I also had a different size slot, so I don't know how that's going to play out. So let's go 2.5 from here and see where that puts us. That's. Ooh, I was not picking the bolt head. I think the bolt head should clear. Get away. 6. It does not clear. Alrighty. ABS on PLA settings. That's interesting. How big was your part? Because I've tried ABS, like even small parts, I can't even get them to stick without warping. Alright, so we are going to slide that down a bit. What was I doing? Extrude through all. Go. So I'm going to edit this guy, bring down the belt 1/4 millimeter, and I believe this should clear now. Yep, perfect. So that's good, but the problem with this guy is that it's no longer, actually, it still can be mirrored. It's just going to look a little funky because one will be upside down, but I guess that's okay. So let me just save this as, you know what, I'll just overwrite it. Belt clamp. I don't think I have any of the models, so this should not give me trouble. Please don't give me trouble. Thank you. Size of a baseball, wow. Yeah, I guess you have a magic printer. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I tried just like small calibration prints with ABS. Even on my build tack, before I used it very much, and I just couldn't get it to stick. But I haven't tried it with a heated bed yet because I have to get some better gauge wire. I ordered some online previously, but it turned out to be much larger gauge than it was supposed to be, which meant it's thinner, which meant it was no good. Let me get... the Inventor's pretty good. Not compared to SolidWorks, but still not bad. I definitely got spoiled from using SolidWorks in school, and at my job I had a co-op for 6 months, and SolidWorks really spoiled me. It was great, but now I'm back to Inventor, which is still good, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not the same. So right now I'm just doing a little mini, ooh, that's not the right piece. I'm doing a little mini assembly just to sort of verify that the changes that it will still work. Excantry new excantry. See, this is my problem. I make excantry redo. I don't know which is which, so this is newest. That's garbage. Get rid of that. Okay. So I want 2 of these guys. And let's use the front face. So I will rotate this guy like that. No, wait, he goes. There we go. Also wish this would fix the first part that you add to the, whatever you call it, what do you call it, assembly. SolidWorks does that. I don't know why this one doesn't. You have to manually ground it. And if you forget to, then it just causes a whole mess of trouble. So that's good. And I believe this one should be good. These look good. They do stick out quite a bit. I suppose I can reduce the size of that back plate. There's really no reason this one has to be so thick. This one has to be thicker for the post, because that's basically just an unsupported. So yeah, this post is, and this guy's really unsupported, so they kind of have to be thicker. They may even have to go thicker than that. Yeah, yep, couldn't agree more. I haven't been using it for 6 years, only like 2 years now, but still. I think this will work. Let me just look. Well, how far it sticks out is definitely not ideal. I should have put these on the other side. That did not do what I expected it to. Let me slap these guys on here. Because right now, as it stands, if you look in the assembly, it's a little messed up, but as you can see, these belt clamps come in right near this pulley, and because they're taller now, they're going to hit the pulley sooner. They're going to hit further up here. I'll have to look at that zebra plate, because I mean, I know there's quite a few of those. Quite a few of those different, like, sort of semi-permanent build plates out there. BuildTech was just the one that I've heard of, and I contacted them, and they were kind enough to send me free samples. So that's why I'm sticking with them for now. But if those other companies are willing to send free samples, definitely try them out too. I don't really know if there's too much of a difference between them. I guess there must be, but I don't know. It seems like they are all made of pretty much the same material, so I don't know how much each different one would help. All right, so I got some room to spread. Okay, good. Because I definitely want to pull these guys in now. So let's go back to this one and this. Let's pull them in another 5. Ooh, that's far. Let's see what that looks like. Yep. Okay, too close. Let's go 8 millimeters. 7.5. All funky with the numbers. So that's good. Reload that. That should be good. My plan with this fan duct is to have a channel on this piece, and sort of half of it, and then the other half is going to bolt on. So it's not going to be an airtight seal along the, whatever you want to call it, the length of this, but it's going to be enough to pass the air through. And also, it's a blower fan, which means it's capable of pushing higher pressure air through rather than higher volume. So hopefully that'll help. I don't really know if that will, but with the kinks, it definitely will help to get more air to the hot end than a standard fan. I'm just curious if any of you guys have tried resurfacing your, I guess, BuildTech, zebra plate, gecko tack, whatever you want to call it. Because what I heard with the PEI is that you can rub like high 1500 grit sandpaper on it, and then some alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, to clean it off, and that sort of resurfaces it. Which in theory it makes sense. It makes the surface rougher, more to grab to. So I'll probably try that eventually. I was just wondering if any of you guys have tried it. All right, so this is good. So I'm gonna print out this thing, not now because I don't want to bother you guys with the noise, but actually, it's only like a 2-minute part. I might as well print it, keep things interesting. Although you won't really be able to see it, and I don't feel like using the webcam. So let's get this guy going. That's you for now. So it's going to be a little noisier than before, just for a little bit. But I mean, this part's going to be minuscule, so it really shouldn't take more than a few minutes. Nope, that was the wrong one. Clamp. This is not how I want to print it. Let's throw it a little closer. All right. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna have to do 2 of them because otherwise they're gonna just melt. Separate them a bit, and I will print it with a brim full infill. There we go. Oh, it moved them. Whatever. 18 minutes. I don't want to torture you guys that much. All right, I'll just print one and hopefully it doesn't melt too much. 13 minutes. I don't think it should be too loud. You guys should be okay. But I lied. I'm going to do 2. I have done recorded videos before with the printer going, so it shouldn't really be loud enough to disturb, but we'll see. If it is, I can stop the print. Doesn't really matter. All right, so preheated. Let's go. It's a lot thicker. It's interesting. I know build tack's really thin, so I guess it's not that hard to go thicker. Oh. Okay, that's quite expensive. Yeah, the great thing about build tack is that in bulk it's only like $4 or $5 for a sheet, which is awesome. Which is really why I was considering it so much, because I could just throw in 2 sheets with each printer, 1 pre-installed, 1 extra, and I mean they would last hopefully a good 400 hours or so. Combined, I mean. What was I doing? Oh yeah, so I'm printing that piece now. Oh, never mind, I have a communication error. Let's try this again. What's that? That's what I get for trying to do something more interesting than, I don't know what. All right, print. There we go. Hopefully it's not too loud. Oh wait, you taped down sandpaper to your build plate. Huh, never thought of doing that. Yeah, but I couldn't imagine it lasting long because, I mean, it's so thin. Well, not really thin, but not very strong. No, but what I was thinking was using the sandpaper on the build surface to roughen it up. Just make sure. Yeah, it seems like it's going good. Okay, good. Hopefully this isn't too loud for you guys. So the other main thing that I really wanted to do, that's really my main goal for this live stream, is getting a new sort of belt securing mechanism for the back of this piece, which makes it so that you get equal tension in both belts, because as I determined, as you can hear, my printer is up and running once again. I figured out that the problem that was making the little resonating noise was in fact because the belt tension wasn't equal, and it was sort of pulling it at a skewed angle and causing one side to jitter. So as you can hear now, it's nice and quiet again. And I don't even think that I got the 2 belts to be exactly the same tension. They're pretty close, but not exact. So the whole idea with this is, oh, I'm sorry. Hello, Justin. So the whole idea, Never heard of that. The idea with this is that it's going to essentially connect both ends of the belt so that they will pull each other to be equal tension, and then you just secure that whole chunk to the back here. So what I couldn't decide on was exactly how I'm going to be securing it. What I'm thinking of doing is making, well, instead of talking, let me show you. So this is a pattern feature, yes, which means I can easily just suppress this. Also, good tip for those of you, if you want to make not a mirrored pattern, but like a sort of identical pattern on the other side, but inverted almost, you can always just rotate it one time around the center point in between the two, which is what I did here. So when mirroring doesn't work, when you want it to be inverted from the mirror, then you can always do that. It seems to work pretty well. Anyway, what I was thinking was having, I first have to see what the midpoint is of these guys. Oops, sorry, I gotta turn off audio real quick.